round 2 of the Season 12 for Apex Online Racing ACC GT3 Championship. This is Tier 8. Quick look at the Drivers' Championship before we commence this round at COTA. Rudy Geese came away from Silverstone leading the Drivers' Championship. Oscar Motin in second place and Guilherme Roca in third. On the Teams Championship front, Intruder Racing team of Rudy Geese. They're leading the championship. In second place, it's Visually Impaired Racing, Blind Guy Morphy, and Meshikichi are the drivers for that team. Green Cow Racing, Mini in third. Revsport International are fourth. Gently Bentley in the Lexus, Mamalduke and Paul Martin fifth. Riders in the Storm, Daniel Vallis, Steel Co at sixth. Beeswax Racing, myself, Steve Pettick and Lord Name were seventh. And Urban Led Racing with Stefan Blair and Nico Urbantat are in 8th place, so keep an eye open for those drivers trying to improve their position on the Drivers' Championship. And let's get into it. Let's go to COTA and see how the race develops. So you join us at the start of round 2 of Season 12 of the Apex Online League for ACC. It's for Tier 8. A Mini, who we're looking at right now, qualified on pole with a time of 2:07.247. Unlike the last round at Silverstone, where 1 second covered P1 to P21, field a lot more spread out here. A lot of drivers during practice sessions saying they were not so familiar with COTA, and that does show in the qualifying times. And lining up now for the start, Mine obviously on pole, Oscar Motin, who was leading most of Silverstone, but finished second on the line, qualified in second place, so he's another strong drive from Oscar. And Guilherme Roca, who had a exciting race at Silverstone. He qualified in third place, and Philip Schimek qualified in fourth. Lining up now, waiting for the green light to go, and A-Mini well in front of the rest of the field there. Got a good start. Oscar Motin was a bit sluggish, was he, at the start there? He's already dropped down to third, and Roca attacks the back of the Aston Martin and Mini, but gets away with it. Back down the field. Everybody getting through turn 1, it appears okay. One car off the track there on the side, but most of the field getting through in one piece. Mine and Roca showing drive-through, so being out of position. Mine was well ahead of the field. Sliding, big slide there. He's already dropped down to second place from the looks of things. There was a black Aston Martin just in front of him. No, a Honda, sorry. And Roca also struggling a bit there, dropping down the field. And it's Cav Bud, is it? What a start from Cav Bud. Qualified in 5th, but by the end of the first lap is well clear of the front of the field. Mine and Roca with those drive-throughs, I don't know if they'll have to serve them. If they were out of position for the start, those will be valid drive-through penalties. And we did see Mine was well clear of the field, he was way ahead, so important to keep an eye on the start widget when you're driving. Make sure you don't get those drive-through penalties. Roca did show in 4th, but I think has got back ahead of Motin in that black Aston Martin. Back into 3rd place, but if he's going to do that drive-through now, it's going to put him and Mini well down the field right at the beginning of the race. Not what they needed after such a good qualifying. The rest of the field weaving their way through the complex set of corners that make up the middle section, final sector of COTA. In the car, this track, very difficult. The constant change of direction makes it difficult to keep the balance straight. And there goes Mine into the pits to serve that drive-through penalty. Only just misses the pit speed limit board. Will Roca take his penalty this time through? Nope, Roca's decided to stay out for the time being. Where's Mine going to come after that? He's going to put him way, way, way down the field. Still crawling down the pit lane. Meanwhile, Cav Bud is over through turn 1 and 2.26 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Look at the lead there that Cav Bud has got over the field already. Roca's got to serve that drive-through penalty, so really Motin is the next driver at threat, and he's nearly 3 seconds down already, so Bud setting out with a very early lead, creating a big problem for Motin to try and close him down. He's Cav also with an all-black livery, seems to be very popular this season. The thing he'll need to watch out for, though, on this circuit are the drive-through penalties for track cuts. Never mind starting out of position. Very easy to pick up track cut warnings at COTA. Very, very draconian track limits are in place. But we won't be able to see if people are collecting those penalties on this replay. Well, only time will know when somebody's been guilty of 4 track cuts is when they get that drive-through. Roca still hanging on, maybe hoping that penalty will go away, but it won't. Penalties awarded by the game in league races are left to be applied. He's only got 3 laps to serve that penalty. If he doesn't serve it, he'll be disqualified from the race. They're just coming around the final sector now through the last few corners. And if he doesn't peel into the pits this time, he's really got to do it next time round, or that'll be it. It'll be game over. And he's not pitting this time round, so he's got to do it the next lap, or he'll be disqualified from this round. Motin still tucked up right behind him. Probably surprised he didn't pull in that time to serve the penalty. Just to illustrate how severe a penalty that was, Mine now at the back of the field. Qualified on pole, out of position during the start procedures, and that's the price he's paid. He's picking up the sausage curbs there, but he's still quite a distance out the back end of the race. Somebody else going into the pits there in the Mercedes. Radomir Kajerski pulling into the pits already. Maybe he got into a bit of an incident and has got damage. Out front, Cav Bud's lead has been cut down a little bit by Roca. Still looking comfortable out front into the final sector. Little slide there for Bud. Going around that corner through the hairpin. No, they're a bit further back down the track than I thought they were then. They're on the main back straight. Are all eyes on Roca at the end of this lap. If he doesn't serve that penalty, it's going to be an early bath. He might not realise he's only got 3 laps to serve it. He might feel it's unfair. Motin making a bit of an attack there on Roca. Can he get close enough to get a good drive out of his final hairpin bend? He is. I think he's in a good position there. Have a go at Roca. Not close enough though. Only really 1 line through this last set of corners. We should really see Roca pull over now. He's not doing it. I think he may get disqualified. Catches the sausage curbs there, really. And there he goes. Didn't do his penalty. Disqualified from the race, so that's all over for Roca. So after a great result on round 1, where he came in 3rd place after quite an exciting time, he's not served that penalty and eliminated from round 2, so that won't do his position in the Drivers' Championship any good whatsoever. Will give a big advantage to Motin. And these are the drivers in the championship. Quick look. Rudy Geese was the other driver who was in a good position. Rudy having taken victory in the first round. Rudy currently running in 7th place. A bit of space around him, but our current leader in the Drivers' Championship going into this round. Meanwhile, Cav now got a 2.67 second lead over Motin. And the front of the pack quite spread out, but we get down to 5th place here with Meshikichi from Visually Impaired Racing. He's in 5th place. He's right behind Steve Banks in the 777 McLaren, and he's got Foster just a second behind. He's got the McLaren there really on a bad line going into the end of the straight. Going to get better speed through the corner there for Mishiki. Look at that, McLaren's on all the wrong lines there going through the corners. put him under real pressure. Little wiggle there. But it's difficult to find a way through on this part of the course. Given this, we'll be given an opportunity for Foster to close up to the back of Mishiki. Last corner now. And what you're really looking for is to get a good overspeed coming out this last corner so you can attack going into the hairpin bend at the top of the hill. Line astern. Rudy Geese there, trying to get on the back of these three. It looks like Foster's got up there. But Mishiki in the BMW number 15 for visually impaired racing didn't have enough speed there to make an attack on Banks. Through the S's, no chance of an overtake through this section of the course. Very fast flowing, only one line. Best option is for a pass is when your opponent makes a mistake and gets a slide in this section. Once you lost your rhythm, you lose a lot of time very quickly. Through one of the corners where it's very easy to get one of those cut warnings. And down towards the hairpin for the back straight. Still no way through. BMW number 15 for visually impaired racing. Gap ahead of Banks to Borimechkov, who's in third, is quite substantial, 2.5 seconds nearly. Really close there, and the BMW had to slam the brakes on as the McLaren slowed right down at the end of the straight. Looking for any way through now. The gap showing as 0.3, but you can see it on the screen there's virtually nothing between them. Going round to the end of another lap. Once again, an hour-long race. A mandatory pit stop is required and changing of tyres, so everybody's got a fixed pit stop time of 30 seconds at some point. Way through for BMW. Got a nice clean exit from the final corner then. It doesn't appear to have any overspeed over the McLaren down the start-finish straight. And well, a bit further down, Scooby-Doo again, P11, tight. Out of the field here, we've got Morphy, the other visually impaired racing driver right behind the BMW, Scooby-Doo. Okay. And Gently Bentley / Lexus, just off the back of this little group. Golden Lamborghini there. Lamborghini's not too popular in ACC these days. Felt to be a bit handicapped by some, but Gold making it work so far in P10. Trying to get away from Scooby-Doo, who's just half a second behind, but you can see the Ferrari and the Lexus are Duque. Oh, and the Lamborghini left a bit of a gap on the inside there. Scooby-Doo tried to take it, but they came together. Lamborghini definitely came out worst on that incident. The Scooby-Doo is a long way down the track. I don't think he's going to be able to give that position back, so I don't know where that one's going to end up. Gold was in 10th. Has been pushed down, way down the field now. Likely to be about 14th or something, I think. Computer yet to catch up. And let's get to the end of the next section. Morphy was the big beneficiary of that little incident. He's come out ahead of everybody else. Morphy now into 10th position. All down to 16th. I'm sure we won't be very pleased with that. There did seem to be a little bit of an opening for Scooby to try and have a go. I misjudged it slightly. The driver who's trying to make a pass with Duque. There's only 0.1 of a second between him and the Mercedes AMG just ahead of him of Conley. Not close enough at the end of the straight here. They go up the hill around the hairpin. I think he might have a faster line though. I don't think he's going to be able to get through there in any way. Oh dear, that was me in the background. I got launched into the wall trying to make, and ended up in the pits with over a minute of repairs, and that was my race over. And when I came out of the pits, trying to keep out of everybody's way, I got on the marbles and then the car just slid into the road and into the wall. And my race was totally over for COTA. I wasn't too happy with, got caught from behind and smashed the car to pieces. Out front, Gav Bud's lead, still pretty safe. Motin only able to close in to 1.7 seconds after 6 laps. And Baromechkov in 3rd place in the Ferrari. 6 seconds adrift, so Motin and Bud pulling away from the rest of the field. Baromechkov under some slight pressure from Banks, a gap of 2.2 seconds, so not too much pressure. We're probably feeling comfortable with that. Chit of visually impaired racing has dropped back a little bit from the back of the McLaren, and these front drivers start to space out a little bit. Foster's also fallen away from the BMW. Now, Rudy Geese though has closed up on the back of Foster. He'll be looking for a way through. He can try and get as many points as he can to try and keep that championship lead he's got going into round 3. Hungaroring will be the next round next week, and that'll be a 90-minute race. And he's done it. Look at that. It was an easy pass there for Rudy Geese on Foster. Foster just seemed to pull over and just let him through with the camera foreshortening. You didn't even realise it was happening. Easy pass for Rudy Geese there. Foster slowly going backwards. He was right on the back of Mishikichi, and he's drifted back, and then Geese has gone through. Oh, big slide for Foster there. Stranded slightly in the middle of the track. He's kept his brakes on. I think from there you might be better off reversing to try and get through. But now he's going to clunk the barrier. No, he didn't clunk the barrier. It'll be a long way back onto the track for him from there. He's lost a lot of places. And they look like he just lost the rear end. Foster was in 7th. We see Morphy go through, we did, and Scooby-Doo, so that'll be him down to 11th, I think. And the sectors shake out. You can see Duque there, just in the background, who's in 12th. Conley in the McLaren, in the Mercedes, having a look at the back of the Lexus there. Little trainer cars forming up behind the Lexus. Move on, Duque. Put your foot down. Saying is then just having to take evasive action, I think, to avoid the back of the Lexus. See the hesitancy there under the brakes for the Lexus as the Mercedes is trying to find a way through. And to complete the 8th lap. Mercedes there too far back, I think, to form any form of attack. There of Burks, a little bit deep into the final corner. They will be coming under threat from Gold, who I think had that little tap in the back and spun out. Yeah, he's had a go around the outside. That mistake from Burks on the final corner cost him down the straight, and the Lamborghini slides through, so Gold's made another place up. Oh, or is it? The BMW is not giving up. But now it must have to. There's only one line really for the rest of this sector. So, Burke's slight mistake on the final corner. Finally, the Lamborghini was able to capitalise about 6 corners later. But is ahead, so Gold's starting to go back up through the field again. Moves into 15th place. Next target will be to try and catch up with Darras just up ahead. Ooh, oh, to make things worse for Burke, there's a slight hesitancy there, and the Aston Martin for Mihai caught the back of him and spun him out. Oh, it's a long recovery for Burks. He's had to reverse back out, get back on the track. And that looks like the other Lexus, is it, of, oh, is it Nem? It is indeed Nem, so unfortunately for Burks, that one mistake cost him a position, and then that spin out has put him all the way down into 24th, I think he'll be. Morphy now up into 9th place. Some action up front. Banks trying to close into the back of Bonameshkov. Bonameshkov's lead was a lot bigger just a few laps ago. Now it's only half a second. Everybody pushing on now. Chikichi from Visually Impaired Racing also caught up to the back of Banks. McLaren. Oh, the BMW's having a look at the inside. That looks like a good pass move there. Got the inside corner for the inside of the hairpin. Should get a good drive out. A good pass on Banks then. So Mashikichi from Visually Impaired Racing moves up to 4. Banks pushed down to 4th. We're trying to have another look. Coming down the straight, but the camera angle not helping us. I don't think they're going to be close enough. Just got to get the braking right in the braking zone. I was trying to dive up the inside. Fair enough, he's pretty close, but can't make that one work. I think the BMW is quite good on the braking. And what Banks needs to watch out for is perhaps trying too hard and losing a bit of time in the corners, and before you know it, the BMW will have pulled away. Visually Impaired Racing driver up into 4th place. Bonameshkov taking advantage of that now. It was less than a second. Now Bonameshkov is 1.3 seconds away. Cav Bud still in the lead out front. 2 seconds nearly the gap back to Motin. And then that huge gap of 8 seconds to the 3rd place Bonameshkov in the Ferrari we can just see on the screen now. See the 2 leaders just disappearing up the hill up ahead. Well, Rudy Geese, this must be a back marker here, is it? Who's behind him? BMW is a lap down at least. Some drivers having a very difficult time at COTA. Rudy is comfortably on his own. MTW 1, man 2 in the pits. Only 10 laps in, feels quite early. MTW 1, man 2, of course, qualified second at Silverstone and had a nightmare first couple of laps. When he jumped from the car then, looks like he's about to come out. Oh, he's backing up a little. What's going on there? Is he missed his pit box? If he has, he's wasted a lot of time because he wasn't moving at all when we got to him. Plummeting down the field. Another bit of a difficult race, I think. Morphy now up to 7. VIR this week. Push on up the teams championship at the moment, with one driver in 4th and the other in 7th. Chichi on the back of Bermechkov. Steve Banks now dropped off by 1.5 seconds once that pass was made by the BMW driver. Dukes on the back of this group. Foster just ahead of him. We saw Foster having that spin, so Foster must have gone back through. I think we rejoined. I think he was behind Duque. Through the final sector. A little there to me. The gap seems to be increasing, not decreasing. Morphy at the head of the little train now. Hairpin. Slightly under pressure from all these cars behind. Boxing now. Oh, MTW1 man is just having a disaster of a race. Saw him in the pits, not moving much and moving back and forth, and then he's got a speeding pattern. He's got a disconnection there clearly, and he's gone. I think connection issues. I think for MTW1 man. Maybe he just had enough with all those penalties and kicked the power plug out. Hard to tell. But not a great night for him. Cav Bud, our leader, now into his 12th lap. Still got that comfortable lead over Motin. Gap has come down slightly, but it's well over a second, so not too much pressure on the gap of that size. Third place, Bermechkov, now 9 seconds, nearly 10 seconds behind the two leaders. Shikichi from Visually Impaired Racing still right behind him. Steve Banks has dropped off the back of these two. You can see him in the distance there, just coming around the corner. Gap now over a second. Then it's Rudy Geese in no man's land. So there's quite a big gap behind the Rudy. That BMW there, number 37, is a lap down. What's happened behind Morphy, I'd say, because he's now got a second gap over Scooby-Doo. Morphy quite comfortable as well in 7th place. Scooby-Doo's got Foster right behind him. Something has happened because computer's showing Duque. Duque's in the pit, so pit stop time for a few drivers now. We will see the order shuffle up a little bit. Amini, who qualified on pole, still all the way down in 15th place, so not having a great race. That mistake at the start procedure, or at least he's still in the race. Unlike Roca, who, oh wow, we caught a lost sausage curb then. We'll definitely lose a bit of speed. Hila too far away to capitalise on that little mistake there from Mine. Steel Co. down in 17th, trying to close in on the back of Hila. I suspect we've got a few pit stops going on. We're seeing a few position changes here, but no passes on track, so people are starting to box now. Longish lap at COTA, over 2 minutes, so probably about 27-28 laps for this race. And to complete another lap, not either of them hitting this time. Seems to have closed up quite a bit there, Motin. I did say 1.6 seconds. We'll get an update. Yes, 1.145 now. It's taken half a second. Maybe Bud made a small mistake on that lap. Could it be a reverse of last week's race at Silverstone, where it was Motin that led for 99% of the race and then got overtaken with just 2 laps to go, came in second place? Could it be a reverse this week with Cav Bud leading for nearly all of the race and then just losing it the very last couple of laps? We'll find out soon enough. Motin trying to up the pressure, now a gap less, just over a second. Those tyres are starting to get a bit tired. Little slides there from the Honda. Mechkov still under pressure from Shikichi, and behind Steve Banks, I'm presuming, has pitted. Yeah, he's in the pits at the moment. Geese now sliding into 5th place. He's 6.5 seconds down the road. Just barely see Mechkov and Shikichi go around the hairpin then, as just now Geese goes into that. Now everybody is boxing, and the tyres take quite a bit of punishment here at COTA, with all the changes of direction and sliding that's incurred. Gap now to Motin, 0.7 of a second, so this does imply that Cav Bud's tyres have gone off quite a bit, and he's losing grip because he's suddenly losing a lot of time to Motin behind him. And it might be wise to dive in the pits now, get fresh rubber on, and try and get some quick lap times in, so that when Motin does pit, try and undercut him. And there you go. And they're both pitting together. Actually managed to avoid each other, slowing down for the pit line limiter. And lucky for them both as well, all the pits are empty now, there's nobody in there at the moment. Makes life a bit easier. The race is on in the pits. Who's going to be able to get out first? It was Bud who pulled in slightly ahead. Neither of them should have damage, I think. They both had very quiet races. Not very that close to anybody. But if they have the speed they've been demonstrating, they shouldn't really need any repairs. He's going to pull away first. And Cav Bud is away. Oscar still sat there. Oh, it's really tight. Possibly Cav there braked a little too early perhaps for the pit lane limiter, and allowed Motin to close up right to the back of him. That gap is now virtually nothing between the pair of them. But he's on the power first. That made quite a difference. You can see when they slow down now, the gap is virtually nothing between the pair of them. We'll find out at the end of the next sector. Mechkov still appears to be going round, and therefore is now leading the race. Both drivers will be wanting to get their tyres up to temperature and up to pressure as soon as they can. There are tyre warmers in GT3, but the tyres always need a bit of work when you've boxed, just to get them to working temperature. And usually about 1 bar too low from where they are with full racing speed. This may be Motin's best chance, as close as he's been to the Honda. He's not on a good angle there. That's the end of the back straight. I apologise, that was the hairpin. Now we're on the back straight. But the gap's too big there. The Honda got a better drive out of the hairpin. The amount of trust they're going to have in them cold tyres coming into that big braking zone, and they're both through. Reduction in speed. Motin able to close right up on the Honda again. Through the complicated 3rd sector. I'm not sure there's a way through there for Motin. I'll focus probably on trying to get as close as he can. See if he can do an attack on the start-finish straight and up into the first corner hairpin. That gap looks too big. Right across the curb in there for Motin to try and get around that corner as fast as he can. That Honda is already a few car lengths away. Into the last corner. Onto start-finish straight. It's closed right up again. There's a difference in performance between the Aston and the Honda under braking and acceleration. I think the Honda has got enough of a distance. Get round T1. And you can get round T1 and come through T2 without the other driver being too close to you. You should be safe all the way through Sector 1. Barring a big mistake. Oh, Cheeky Cheese got a drive-through penalty for cutting the course. Just coming out of the pits, but he was right on the backside of Bonamechkov for ages. And he's got a drive-through. Oh, he's managed to do that getting into the pits. It looked like he was just coming out of the pits when we cut to him. But that will put the visually impaired racing driver right down the field. It's too tight at this level, even in Tier 8, for you to take a drive-through penalty. You'll be well down in the teens by the time you've served a drive-through. And everybody's pace is so even that you've got very little chance of getting back up through the field. Banks all over the BMW there trying to find a way through, but he's going to serve that penalty anyway. You might be thinking, why didn't you just let me past? Because you're going to lose places. Bonamechkov pitting from the lead of the race, was in third, should return third really. Anybody else who's ahead of him has probably just not served their pit stop themselves yet. Scooby-Doo will assume the lead of the race if he stays out, and he has done. So Scooby-Doo to the front. Well, it's clearly yet to serve his pit stop. Cav and Motin still hard at it. Cav just waiting for all those ahead of him now on the track to serve their pit stops. He should comfortably return to the front of the race. Mechkov rejoining, whereas already into one. Yeah, they're already ahead. Camera angles not helping much. All parts of COTA look the same. He's really jumped out of the way then. Better time. Ballis. Another driver being lapped by the leaders. Trying to get out of the way. Only Scooby-Doo and Steel Coat remain out of sequence, as it were, for the leaders in terms of pit stops. Big Motin tried his hardest, but he's not managed to get past and have the tyres are warmed up. He's unlikely to find a way through unless Cav makes a mistake. Paolo speeding in the pits, did what I did last time round at Silverstone. A bit of damage there on the back. Front of that BMW. He's not going to have a great time anyway. He's got to do a stop-go 30. That's going to place him right down the back of the field, possibly last. Although we'll do well to end up behind me because I had 2 pit stops for repairs and was woefully out of this race. A long way down on everybody. Not a great day for Paolo. Scooby-Doo doing a nins and hanging on to the lead for as long as he can. Taking all the glory. Neilco is boxing though. So he made his speed reduction in time. So just waiting on Scooby-Doo to pit, and then Cav can retake the lead. That gap to Motin now 0.7 of a second. So Motin not giving up obviously, and putting quite a bit more pressure on Bud than he had in the first half of the race, where for the majority of the first half of this race the gap was well over 2 seconds. number of drivers have kind of dropped away from this race as we've gone on. Foster now down in 13th. So just saw him have that rear tail slide. It's really damage to the front now to that McLaren as well. Been in the walls a little. Mine qualified on pole. Got himself back up to 17th. We saw him do his pit stop, so he's just going to try and keep plugging away. Paul Martin for Gently Bentley in the Lexus in 18th. Lord Nem right on his tail. Going to move on Lord Nem. We need some points after my complete cock up. Polo. Doing this. Doing the toast. Drag it out. Polo serving his stop go 30. And another one for Steel Co. I wish there was a way to stop that popping up at the bottom. I can't figure it out. 29 laps it appears the race will end. Give that game away. Steel Co's got a stop go 30. Polo's serving his now. Just pulling out of the pits. He's showing us 22nd, but he'll drop a bit further down. I don't think he'll end up behind me though, don't worry about that. Scooby-Doo still hanging on to his lead. 18 laps in. Quite a long way up, but it won't save him when he does finally have to pit. Cav Bud. That gap now looks pretty comfortable over... it's a bit bigger, isn't it? Motin showing 1.33 seconds. As Motin's tyres finally run out of fresh grip, allowing the Honda to pull away. Remechkov is this far behind and does show to be behind the 777 there of Banks. Well, Banks looks to have gotten through just before we cut to this. Remechkov down into 5th, will be net 4th at the moment. And Banks is through in the McLaren. Rudy Geese, last week's winner at Silverstone, down into 6th place. Pretty solid drive from Rudy, he's been on his own. That gap to Bodemeshkov in front is 5 seconds. About 10 more laps, hasn't he, to complete to try and catch him up. If Bodemeshkov is starting to lose pace, then that might give an opportunity. Not clear as well what's going to happen with Scooby-Doo, because the gap between Motin in 2nd place, in net 2nd, and Banks, who's currently in 4th, Motin currently in 3rd, is 20 odd seconds. And Scooby-Doo has got 17 seconds, so Scooby-Doo may well come back in 3rd place here if he keeps this pressure up. He's doing a strong drive. So really interesting to see when Scooby-Doo pits, where he returns. He's not doing it this lap either. Hanging on for a long time, really punishing those tyres. Cav not too far behind. He certainly won't get up ahead of Cav, Bud and Motin. Banks, in currently 4th place, is definitely under threat from Scooby-Doo, depending on when he boxes and how long that pit stop takes. Gaps, the rest of the field all sort of spreading out a bit now. Quite a few seconds between everybody. Duque trying to find a way through on Griffith in the BMW number 14. The inside a little bit, puts the BMW off his line a little, but he's back on track for the hairpin. He's gone very wide, and he caught the sausage curbs. That will slow him down, give Duque an opportunity on the outside, and he's trying to swing it round there. Very, very wide. Should be able to get an overspeed now on towards the final corner. He's alongside the BMW. He's going to compromise the BMW's corner, make him take a tighter line. He'll have less speed. What Duque's going to do is try and carry all that speed all the way through onto start finish straight and make a go of it in turn 1. And I think he may have enough speed there. Coming off the final corner. BMW is compromised all the way through that sector. Look, this will be Duque's big chance to try and get through the BMW, and he's going for it. He's gone up the inside, trying to make that overspeed work. That BMW's pushed way wide again. It was compromised all the way from a number of corners back. It was always on the back foot. Duque made that one work. Gets through on the BMW and moves up into 7th place. for those of you that may have killed me from behind, that's how to do an overtake in the races. It's not to try and hassle through on the braking on the corners. It's to put that other driver off their line, compromise their speed through all the other corners, and then get them at the end of a straight, or get them accelerating on the straight, and just drive past them. Proved to be the best way to make an overtake at COTA, was to get the other driver to react to you behind them and go onto the wrong line. A good pass by Duque there. We do still in front, and doesn't pit again. He's gone through past the start finish straight and past the pits. Still hanging on. He's got to go in some point. What's difficult to do in ACC when you're driving is to try and judge how far back that gap is to where Banks is, the 777. That has to be Scooby-Doo's target, is to get himself in a position where he can overcut the drivers behind him, stay out long, come in box, do that 30-second pit stop, pit back out and get ahead of Banks and take third place. Certainly the way it's looking, the gap between Bud and Motin is yo-yoing a little, back down to 0.7. You can see the Aston Martin right on the tail of the Honda again now. It was over a second. Remechkov now in 5th. Again, is yo-yoing a little behind Steve Banks. Steve, isn't it? Yes. I used to know Steve Banks at work. So you can see 2nd through the 5th there in one shot. Aston, well, he's having a look, but he's nowhere near close enough to have a go going into the left-hander at the end of the back straight. I'm going to try to put Wood off. I'm moving around in his mirrors, get him to react to try and cover. Oh, big slide there for the Honda, but it looked like it was a fortuitous slide. He didn't lose too much speed, but Motin's seen it and he's right on the back of the Honda trying to make something happen. But I think the Honda I think Bud really got away with that one then. He had a slide but kept on the racing line and managed to get the power down. So not compromised and not having to change his line through the corner and lose speed. Motin frustrated again as the Honda comes out the final corner with no disadvantage that he can take advantage of into T1. In the background, BMW there, must be a lapped car. Cheeky. Number of options, I think it was Paolo. So we're getting that stop go. Steel coat. Steel coat will be pleased about that. Caught him having a bit of a moment in T1. Recovered quickly though. But again, another driver had a stop go 30, pushed him right down the field. Motin now right on the back of Bud. See the different lines the two drivers are taking as they're trying to outwit each other. Force the other one into making a slight compromise that will cost him speed. Still no way past the Honda. On the hairpin. The gap's behind now. Banks is 27 seconds down. Something must have happened because the gap was nowhere near that big, I don't think. Michkov right behind him. I don't know what happened there. Scooby-Doo still circulating. Still not back. No, still not pitting. And with the gap just 10 seconds, Scooby-Doo, he must serve a pit stop or will be disqualified. Obviously, massive advantage to do no pit stop in the race. Scooby-Doo must do a pit stop, so he's definitely going into third. Now, I think with this 28-second gap, it's now 40 seconds between Scooby-Doo and Banks. Is that enough? It's a 30-second mandatory stop now. I do think it's more than 10 seconds to box in and box out from the start of the pit lane speed limiter and when you can release the pit lane limiter. You need more than 40 seconds. Michkov trying to have a look here. Banks backs up massively wide there. But manages to keep his foot down. I think the Ferrari's just a bit too far away from the slightly wild lines there that the McLaren was taking, but he's managed to keep it together, McLaren. And here we go. Scooby-Doo in the pits. Where's he going to come out? But already Steve Banks is on the start-finish straight, so he's definitely not going to get that position back. It is too long to wait. About 30 seconds. So where's Scooby-Doo going to re-emerge? Banks is already round turn 1 along with Barmechkov. Rudy Geese as well. I think he's going to be down about 8th or 9th. Old Scooby-Doo. Looking good for a while. A lot of glory. Showing 6. Duque is also around turn 1, so he's at least 7th. He's going to be 9th, I think. Or 8th. He's behind Morphy. He's going to be 9th, I reckon, when it all settles out. Number 2. VIR races, are they? Showing 7th. Does take a while for the computer to catch up. There's Heather Griffiths, so Ishikichi ends up 7th after that long stint out front. Wasn't enough to get him ahead of the rest of the field. It was quite a long wait, wasn't it, in the pits with the speed limiter. Cost him quite a bit of time. Drive through for Griffiths. Too many cuts. So it will be the VIR driver's line astern because Morph is in 9th, so when Griffiths turns that drive through, he'll be catching up with his teammate. Scooby-Doo down to 10th. I wonder what happened there. Missed that completely. Cav Bud's lead now back up to 1.3 seconds. Motin sliding back a little bit. Maybe got his tyres too hot. Banks. He's behind Bodimeshkov now, so missing everything unfortunately. Just happened to be in the wrong place, the wrong time. So Bodimeshkov got through on Banks and the 777 car. Only just happened. Must have happened through the final sector in all those changes of direction. Bodimeshkov back up to 3rd. Banks won't give up because he's managed to get past him before. Rudy Geese. A bit like Carlos Sainz is Rudy Geese in this race, and nobody ever goes to him because he's just driving around quietly on his own with nobody around him, but he's doing well in terms of being in 5th place. Morphy picks up whilst Tom serves that drive-through penalty. Another drive-through for Koenig. Down in 20th, still in position. Can't be too much longer left now for Motor to try and have a go at getting through. I think that's through the hairpin bend, and Bodimechkov trying to get away from Steve Banks. Comes down the back straight into the big braking zone. Tom Griffiths completes his drive-through, showing 15th at the moment. Maybe a little bit further down than that. It does always take a while for the computer to catch up, unfortunately. Tom Griffiths showing 19th now. Oh wow, that said he's stopped stone dead then for these two to come through. Very generous of them. Michkov's got that gap up to a second, and it looks to be a little bit less now. Too much longer to hang on, I think. The McLaren right on the tail of the Ferrari. Come through the final corner. Geese just coming into shot there, trying to catch these two up while they fight each other. safe, at least for Sector 1, with that gap. Mine still looking at the back of Vila. Gold has just slipped backwards from the looks of things, because it's Vila showing 12th, and now he's got Mine right behind him, and Lamborghini of Gold showing 13th, so I think he's going to drop back one place there, Gold, and Mine, yep, to 13th. So Mine must have got a pass done on there on the Lamborghini. We were disappointed though after that qualifying. Oh, big smash! No, I think Mine was completely unsighted then. Came around the corner and there was a car sideways on in the middle of the track. It wasn't Steel Coat. It was Braun. He was in 11th place. That's quite a big change of position there, so I don't know what happened to Braun just then. Possibly just a spin at the top of the hill. It happens a lot. But give us well out of whack now. It's going to take a little while for it to settle down. Out front. Oh, Boromeshkov's got a drive-through. Boromeshkov got himself up to 3rd, but he's got a drive-through and it's all over. That clears the way for Banks, who will slide into 3rd place when Boromeshkov serves that penalty for track cuts. We've seen a number of drive-throughs appear, but I think that's the most painful one. Podium position for Boromeshkov, lost through a drive-through with just a few laps to go. In he pulls, but it's all over. He's going to drop right down into probably 10th or something. Right down the field. Steve Banks will slide into 3rd place. Rudy Geese is going to skate to 4th. Very, very quiet race for Rudy Geese, but he's getting into 4th, just off the podium, once Boromeshkov drops off the leaderboard. Duque is going to get 5th, Jabby Sod. Mashikichi, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I'll give him no enough amusement. Is going to be 6th, and Morphy probably 7th. Scooby-Doo. His head down, it's all where Boromeshkov comes back into play, really. There's quite a big gap. Some of the field. He's showing 4th, but I don't think he'll be 4th. He's showing ahead of Geese though. Has he got 4th? Pretty amazing if he's not got the 4th. But he's not served the drive-through. I'm confused. I thought he did the drive-through. Sure, I saw him pulling over for the pits. Definitely out of this race now then. Foster has also got a drive-through and appears to have given up. So we just caught him then teleporting back to the pits. That penalty, one penalty too much for him. If you teleport to the pits, you've got a time lock where you're not allowed to set out off in the car. And he's still going to serve a drive-through as well. So I think I won't be last. There's a bonus. I had a terrible race. I'd rather not reflect upon, really. Motin now still just over a second away from Bud. He's been trying all race to catch up with Bud. I don't think there's many laps left for him to do it. Steve Banks in the 777 McLaren got ahead of Boromeshkov. He must pit or he'll end up with the same fate as earlier on. Oh, I've forgotten. It's Roker. There you go, he's doing the drive-through now. Roker got disqualified, didn't he? Not serving his drive-through. So that's Boromeshkov dropping right down the standings, unfortunately. But track limits are the same for everybody. I managed to get 2 warnings on the first 3 laps. Bud still clear, 0.9 of a second. Banks quite a way back. Rudy Geese has quietly slid his way into 4th place. Boromeshkov is just re-emerging to clear that drive-through. And there it goes. Duque is already on his way down the hill, so Michikichi is also behind him. Morphy's just appeared now, so Boromeshkov will be in 7th, Morphy will stay in 8th. No moving up for you, Scooby-Doo. You get to stay in 9th. not sure if Motin's head gap got up to a second, over a second. I don't think his head has dropped. He still seems to be pushing because it looks a little bit less now. Coming from the final sector. There's only a few laps left to go. Over the line. Yeah, that's 1.1. He's at 1.1. Oh, good. Then Motin. Steve Banks, long way down. Through the final sectors too. Still, so Motin and Bud a long way ahead of the rest of the field. Rudy Geese not close enough to Banks to make an attack. But he's got a nice comfortable gap of 18 seconds behind him to Duque. Shikichi is 2.2 seconds behind Duque, so he's going to struggle to catch him up in the time remaining. Oremechkov drove so well for so long, but then cut the track just one time too many, and now paid the price. Now down in 7th. Morphy again too far away really to be able to attack Oremechkov in the time remaining. Scooby-Doo. Well, a bit of what's Morphy doing then? Just as I'm saying he's probably safe to the end of the race, Morphy catches the sausage curbs, goes high enough in the air that he'd break his spine in the real world, and Scooby-Doo just says thank you very much. Scooby-Doo slides through to 8th. Morphy has a bit of a mare and slides down to 9th. Should be comfortable in 9th though. Clearly gave it the commentator's curse by telling Scooby-Doo he wouldn't get another position, because now he has. Beeler, again a quiet race for Beeler. He slid his way up into 10th position. Hammer and Gold had a bit of a mare. I know he got clipped at one point by Scooby-Doo and spun out. I think a few other things happened to him. He's back up to 11th. Mine a recovery drive up to 12th following the drive-through he got for starting out of position. Very wide there. Okay. Careful. Well, you're going to get into drive-through as well. That was very wide a couple of times. And COTA doesn't like you going wide at all. Lord Nem. Come on, Lord Nem. Pick your pace up for Beeswax Racing. We need some points because I keep coming nearly last those 2 rounds. Hoping for more from Hungary. And Burks down in 14th has got Dadas right behind him. The closest threat we've got apart from the 2 leaders. Final couple of rounds. I've seen white flags there, so we're into the last lap. And that's it, it's all over actually. I can see you slowed down, so Bud takes the victory at COTA. Well done to him. Motin tried for the whole race to get past him, but couldn't manage it, finishes in 2nd place. Steve Banks is also around the final corner, so he's got 3rd place in the bag. Rudy Geese 4th, Duque over the line for 5th, and Shikichi 6th. But Oremechkov is celebrating, but he shouldn't be celebrating. He's got 7th, and he was well on for 3rd if he hadn't got that drive-through penalty. Scooby-Doo crosses the line for 8th, and Morphy 9th. And Beeler manages to get ahead of Gold, who's 11th, and Minier just there in 12th. So there you go, that's the round at Circuit of the Americas. We'll have a look at the official race results and how it affected the Drivers' Championships and Teams' Championships coming up next. Let's have a look at the official race results coming away from round 2 at the Circuit of the Americas. Cav Bud for Rev Sport International, 1st place, and take away maximum points, and always the bridesmaid, never the bride for Oscar Motin, 2nd place again in 2 rounds. Steve Banks came in 3rd place. Rudy Geese for Intruder Racing Team came in 4th. Duque for Gently Bentley in the Lexus was 5th. Masikichi for Visually Impaired Racing 6th. Doremechkov came in 7th place following that drive-through right at the end of the race. Scooby-Doo 8th. Blind Guy Morphy visually impaired racing got the sausage curbs on virtually the last lap and lost 1 place to Scooby-Doo. He came in 9th. And Payos Bila came in 10th. Further down the field, Amini, having qualified on pole, managed to recover back to 12th following a drive-through penalty for starting out of position. Lord Nem for Beeswax Racing came in 13th place. Paul Martin, the other Gently Bentley driver in the Lexus, came in 17th place. Steel Co, the Riders of the Storm, was 21st, and his teammate Daniel Vallis was 25th. I came in 26th place following a couple of visits to the pits for extensive repairs, having been put into the wall unfortunately at one point. Looking at the Drivers' Championship from the first 2 rounds, that consistency from Oscar Motin getting 2 second places moves into the top of the Drivers' Championship. Rudy Geese for Intruder Racing Team is in 2nd place. Cav Bud, with that victory at COTA, moves him up to 3rd for Rev Sport International. 7 places he's made up there in 1 race. Mashikichi, visually impaired racing, again fairly consistent, the 5th and the 6th, moves him up 1 place into 4th. Steve Banks moves up 10 places into 5th place. Mamalduke and Gently Bentley in the Lexus also moves up 10 places into 6th. A Minute Green Cow Racing does not move from 7th. And Guilherme Roca, who got disqualified following the failing to serve that drive-through penalty at the start of the race, he drops down 5 places to 8th. Eric Logans also drops down at 5 places, but he was able to start today. And Scooby-Doo, with the 8th place, just sneaks inside the top 10, moving up 4 places to take 10th place. Looking at the Teams Championship table after 2 rounds, Rev Sport International Cav Bud moves up 3 places to the head of the table. Intruder Racing Team, the Rudy Geese, drops down 1 place to 2nd. Visually Impaired Racing, Blind Guy Morphy and Masikichi, they drop down 1 place to 3rd. Gently Bentley in the Lexus, Mamadouke and Paul Martin, they move up 1 place. While Amini of Green Cow Racing drops down 2 to 5th. Beeswax Racing, myself, Steve Bezic and Lord Nem, we move up 1 place into 6th. The Riders of the Storm, Daniel Vallis and Steel Co, they drop down 1 place. And Urban Led Racing, Stefan Blair and Nico Urban, I don't think they were mentioned today, so they're still on 0 points. Have yet to get off the mark. So that's the official results and all the outcome from round 2 at COTA. Next round will be at the Hungaroring, a 90-minute race with very mixed conditions predicted. So what's going to happen there and how's that going to shape up for the championship, both for the drivers and for the teams? Find out next time. Thanks for watching. See you later. Cheerio.